The 49ers had a tough game last week against the Vikings, and they came into the Rams, came to play the Rams, and everything was looking okay for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Rams come storming back and end up winning the game by 24-27. Now, let's put it into perspective here. The 49ers are missing probably one of the best running back in the game, and in Christian McCaffrey. They're also missing who else they got out?
Debo.
Debo
They knew they were
and
missing George
Kittle, right?
Kittle.
So
Yep.
they're missing a lot of weapons coming in this game. However, one guy showed up to play. That
Your boy
guy's
Jawan Jennings.
that guy's
God
name was
bless
Jawan.
America, man.
I could tell
Woo!
who's I could tell you who's holding out next year. And
Well, no, he signed an extension this year.
oh,
They
good.
got his deal done before they got Brandon Ayuk's
Good.
deal done.
I don't know if you remember what I texted you, but I sent you a text saying Brandon Ayuk should
Yeah.
buy Jennings a car with some of his signing bonus because
Oh, man.
Ayuk really, and you mentioned it, B, that some of these guys they held out, it's going to take time for them to get into a groove because they missed training camp preseason. But not a good look.
No.
Not a good look.
Well, I think he was 45, 50 yards today. $30 million. That's going to be the tune of your beat until you start stepping it up here. But I took the Rams. There was just something about this game that I knew that was going to give them a shot. And especially once George Kittle was announced out on Saturday, the Rams had a fighting chance here. The Niners were still stacked on their offensive end here. Mason had a pretty good game today as well. He just couldn't get into the end zone. Jawan Jennings was an absolute monster here. I'm going to give a shout out to my sister. She did call Kyle Juszczyk. He had to step up his role as well. But let's put the blame on two people for the Niners loss today, and that was Rodney Bell and then Moody. Bell had two opportunities to haul in deep passes to really put this game away for the 49ers, proceeded to drop them. And it's not like anybody was around him either. And then obviously Moody missing the potential game-winning field goal that put the Rams in a position to tie the game. So this was not a good win or good loss for the 49ers here.
No.
It was not a good showing as well here. I think Brock Purdy did what he could, but dude, just the time management that the Niners had to really try to win that game. And all they did was say, hey, let's settle on a field goal
Yeah.
and put the hands in our defense. But if you remember, Moody was terrible from 50 plus yards.
Yeah.
He wasn't really all that great.
Yeah, and the bottom line is if you're relying on a field goal kicker to get it done, it ain't gonna work anyway. I mean, they have to be better. You got to get TDs, baby, and just kind of go back to what you were talking about earlier, which is, these guys have to step up. The whole reason you took the time to pay Ayuk is for this very situation.
Yes,
It's because Deebo Samuels has been injured the last 2 to 3 seasons. It's not anything unusual, okay? The fact that you're being paid, that you're the number one receiver, somebody has to show up and step up to get it done. And if we go back at the end of this season and we look at the season stats, right now Ayuk is not looking like the guy that deserves the money. He's not looking like a guy who's going to step up when it's needed. He's not looking. This is where it hurts. He's not looking like a guy that in the number one position can beat a good CB off the ball. Can't.
No.
And so,
no, not at all.
And so, if when you're number one, you have to be able to play against number one CBs, DBs, and safeties, and find a way to get open. And he's not able to. He's shown this season thus far. He's not capable to. He was much more comfortable with being the third option. The third or maybe even third or second option. And that's where he felt more comfortable. But now that those guys are gone and he has to be number one, he's flopping. And I think the 49ers got to take a hard look at this decision. And if he doesn't show some improvement by, when we get to season's end, hey, maybe Amari Cooper was a better option.
Yeah, and at that point, you might as well just take that. But he's going to hear all the criticism because of the fact, one, you signed that lucrative deal.
Yeah.
Haven't really proven anything in the league.
Yeah.
And you haven't shown any improvement in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So you have, honestly, that week 7 matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs, guess who's going to be blanketing that dude? McDuffie.
Yeah.
And McDuffie's just shutting everybody down
Yeah.
that he's. So it's not going to get any easier for Brandon Ayuk, but this is the kind of game where you really have to sit there and go, dude, we just paid you all this money. The game Jawan Jennings had should have been the game that Brandon Ayuk had.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it should have been. He is your number one go-to guy, and he is playing like a number 3 guy.
Yeah.
So you can't have that from him week in and week out. Look at Justin Jefferson today. Another monstrous game from Justin Jefferson. That's why Minnesota paid him what they paid him,
Right.
because you know what you're getting from him.
Right.
You got his money now. He's playing like he's set for life. Like he don't care.
Right. Right.
50 yards today against a team that has been getting torched by other quarterbacks and receivers here.
Yeah.
50 yards from your number one go-to guy. That is a problem. It is now going to be week 4, and there's been no improvement from Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, it's the Niners are hoping for some health for some of the players they have out. Deebo Samuel, especially Christian McCaffrey, who we have no idea when he's coming back, and George Kittle. So they need those guys back soon. Because, like as you just said, B, if they got to rely on this guy, he ain't gonna. It don't look like it's gonna happen, man. So all I can say is he missed an opportunity to show himself today, and we'll see how he does next week.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Brock Purdy too.
Yeah,
This was the kind of game where you go, what kind of quarterback is Brock Purdy with no weapons? He had no weapons today. Had a pretty good game.
Yeah, he did.
I think he had a pretty good game. No turnovers.
Three TDs.
3 TDs here. So yeah, I would say this was a pretty good showing by Brock Purdy here. It's just that you needed a little more from your number one go-to target, and you just didn't get it, man. And Jordan Mason, I mean, he's doing everything that he can. Another 100-yard game from him. They really try to get him going as well. So you saw a lot of that, but man, the tight end game was just missing from that there. So it's tough.